I wanted to ask you about kind of large-scale systems innovation. We know quite well how to do the product innovation company by company, but if we look at the climate science, we know we've got one shot, we've got one generation to get this right. And I'm worried that kind of the small incremental stuff isn't going to get us there. So some thoughts about how that game-changing, big, systemic, private, public innovation is going to happen, and also whether incumbents, those companies who are kind of sitting at the top of the tree now, can they be as much part of the problem as part of the solution?
Well, I'd say good luck to all of us. The problem is that there isn't a stewardship model that is well defined for dealing with large-scale, open-ended, wicked problems that require systemic solutions. So what one really needs to look at is a new form of collaboration, first of all, between public, private, NGO, and civil society, but secondly, stewardship mechanisms for addressing these kinds of challenges. And I feel strongly that at the moment there is no global face for innovation. There is no global innovation agenda. Countries are barely getting the idea that innovation has certain national parameters that require investment and strategy and so forth and so on. And so what happens is, we kind of, we stumble forward in a way, which is why it takes, over 2 decades to resolve the ozone problem with policies, which is about as no-brainer a problem as you can get. But simply to define the problem and the terms of reference, let alone an action plan, which then requires profound behavioral change on the part of citizens and institutions and trillions of dollars of investment over a long period of time, is extremely difficult to do. One of the fundamental obstacles is that people are not scared enough about the downside yet. There is not a narrative out there that has created alignment and a sense of urgency, which then galvanizes the kind of self-organization of these types of, as we call them at our little institute, the large-scale innovation phenomena that hopefully are going to at least help us to get our arms around these problems. Because otherwise, everyone's going to have their parochial interests, nationalistic interests, corporate profit objectives. We're talking about the kind of innovation that, can't be fostered by, a few smart Sandhill Road venture capital companies. We need innovation at scale, and unfortunately, we don't have the models yet for doing innovation at scale. We don't even have robust mechanisms right now on a global basis for financing innovation, right? A few sovereign wealth funds and a few Sandhill Road venture capital companies are not going to do it, right? And with the current disarray in capital markets, the paucity of exits, the inability to reward entrepreneurs, that alone is a mammoth challenge. So I wish us luck. I see a lot of encouraging signs, but we still don't have a kind of Copernican theory of how large-scale innovation needs to work. And as you said, time is running out.
Well, I think we do know of a few things that can make a difference. One is leadership. I mean, without leadership, and leadership that looks across and fills gaps. So right now, we do have lots of initiatives. We have some momentum, some movements. What we don't have is connectivity. And if we think about connectivity, particularly at the local and regional level, where it's easier to do, I'm watching this in the healthcare reform debate in America, where we have a leader with principles, but to try to do too much nationally is invoking parochial interest. Yet in Massachusetts, we have universal health coverage because you can forge local coalitions. If you forge those local coalitions and they create connectivity across otherwise unrelated silos in the social system, then they can join with others. They can be models. So we need, in the same way that the skunk works, we had skunk works in companies, we need, in essence, that same kind of skunk works for large-scale system change. So my friend Alan Casey, who founded City Year and is responsible for a lot of the AmeriCorps legislation, et cetera, is running for the Senate, U.S. Senate, for Ted Kennedy's Senate seat in Massachusetts, always talks about the laboratories and the small scale and the citizen power and aggregating it. So we need leaders that look across, and that's what is going to be the next level of change. So we need the small, and we also need the connectivity.